Meanwhile, investment management firm Double Line Capital says fears of a ravaged commercial real estate market are now easing, despite delinquency rates jumping to 6.5% by the end of 2023. The total outstanding commercial mortgage debt rising to $4.7 trillion. Joining me now is the Peebles Corporation founder, chairman, and CEO, Don Peebles. Don, it's great to see you. Thanks very much for being here. What are you thinking these days about commercial real estate? We've been worried about these loans coming due and perhaps a problem specifically on commercial real estate.
Well, the worst is ahead of us. I mean, I think that interest rates are not going to drop as quickly as people anticipated. People are not coming back to work. And many of these buildings, the vast majority of these office buildings in cities like New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and other major markets are insolvent. And so we will see those properties increasingly go back to their lenders, which will be local and regional banks, because 82% of those loans are held by local and regional banks. And I think that will bring considerable stress into those sectors in terms of banking. And also, it's drying up capital for entrepreneurs and small businesses.
Well, this is a big issue there as well. Mark Tepper, jump in here, because this is something that you've been expecting for some time.
Yeah, but you know what? I've heard recently, and Don, I would love to get your take on this, that when you look at commercial real estate, even office space in particular, it seems like right now the banks and the borrowers are actually playing nice in the sandbox, and they are negotiating extensions to mortgages rather than forcing the borrowers to refinance the whole mortgage at higher rates. Do you think that's what's helping out some of these office buildings?
Well, it's not helping the buildings. I think it's delaying the day of execution. But if you look at the smart investors, you look at the Blackstones, you look at the Brookfields, they are giving properties back to their lenders because they've given up on them. You have one of the largest funds in the office building sector, Savannah, writing down their office funds equity to zero. So at the end of the day, smart investors are going to move on and look for opportunities. The other ones are going to hang around for a while because the lenders don't want these properties back. But the solution is not going to be that these buildings come back, because the way people are working now has fundamentally changed. Yeah. And where they're working and in what places they're working is also fundamentally changed.
Well, that's a very good point, because that shows you that this could actually be a very long-term thing, given that people have changed the way they approach their work. And you look at a place like San Francisco, once considered the crown jewel of the West Coast, now facing a collapsing real estate market. I spoke with JPMorgan Chase Chairman and CEO Jamie Dimon back in January, and he said the Bay Area is in far worse shape than New York City right now. Watch this.
I think every city, like every country, should be thinking about what is it that makes an attractive city. You know, it's parks, it's art, but it's definitely safety. You know, it's jobs, it's job creation, it's the ability to have affordable housing. Any city who doesn't do a good job, it will lose its population. Hopefully, San Francisco can look at these things and fix some of them, and they're going to need the help. You know, this is where you need government and business collaborating. You know, government's got to listen to business.
Jamie, what about New York? Is it the same issues in New York?
I think the New York City Partnership is doing a great job saying, what do you need? If governments and business in collaboration work together like we did in Detroit across affordable housing, education, job creation, outreach to communities, you can build a great society. And so, you know, New York is doing that.
Don, part of the issue this time around is this new border element of it. We've got an open border. People are worried about safety. We've got lots of new residents. We've got some questions about who they are and what their intentions are as well. And that's the issue. We had hundreds of people on the terrorist watch list apprehended at the border.
Yeah, I mean, New York has a very challenging situation. I mean, thank God for Eric Adams. I mean, we have a mayor who's much more moderate, more focused on business and public safety, but not getting help from the city council. But that is why Jamie Dimon said New York is better off, say, than San Francisco, because crime is going down. But the biggest threat to New York is this out-of-control migrant situation that has really paralyzed the city in many ways and cost the city billions of dollars and distracted the mayor and the city from dealing with some of the other issues. I think one of the things that happened last weekend is this deal on affordable housing that happened at the state level with the city as well, in terms of supporting the development of affordable housing was tax breaks, and then also incentivizing the conversion of office buildings into residential by bumping up the zoning and taking away the limitations on FAR and other areas that will stimulate development on a pro-business approach. It's the first time that New York in a long time, since Mike Bloomberg, has actually approached this with incentives as opposed to penalties.
Yeah, it's a great point. Don, what do you think when you see this market selling off the way it is? The Dow Industrial is down 431 points right now. The NASDAQ also plummeting this morning on the heels of a weaker than expected GDP number that we just got. 1.6% growth is down from 3.4% in the fourth quarter and down from 4.9% in the third quarter. The Dow down 427, the NASDAQ down 270. Second quarter's been real rough on markets, Don.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think what's happened is the three elements of inflation, the big elements, housing, healthcare, and transportation, are draining consumers' buying power, and so they can't buy anymore. There's also not as much light at the end of the tunnel because of rates, and so there's a lot of overvaluation. And also, I think that people are looking at what's going to happen in the real estate market, both residential and commercial.
All right, we will leave it there. Don, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thanks so much.